Hi, Queens. Welcome to today's episode. On today's podcast episode, we're going to take a trip down memory lane. We are going to revisit some of the amazing guests that we've had on the Beauty Growth Academy Unleashed podcast in the last year. They have shared some seriously helpful tips and advice on all kinds of topics that's going to help you grow and thrive in your business. You're about to hear simple, effective strategies for growing your client base, managing your time better, becoming a great leader, and also we're going to talk about practical money advice to help you manage your finances and make more money. We're also going to speak about manifestation techniques to help you achieve your dreams and attract your dreams easier. You're going to also listen to social media tips to help you grow your brand and connect with your audience in ways that makes them want to book with you and come back to you. So I hope you're ready for this episode. Make sure you grab your notepad and pen. You're really going to want to take notes on what these experts have been sharing with you. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in another episode soon. Let's talk a bit about client bases, because I think so many beauty business owners underestimate the work that goes into building up a loyal client base.
Yes.
It's not easy.
No.
It takes time. But you've nailed it. Have got a huge client base. You've got a very, very loyal client base. Yeah. I know you adore your clients, and I know your clients adore you as well. What do you think are some crucial things that beauty, skin, aesthetic, hairdressers, business owners, what are some crucial things that they need to do to attract clients and also keep them? What are things you did in the early days?
Authenticity, 100% is my number one thing, being authentic. And I think when you are authentic and you are passionate and that shows to your clients, I think that you don't even need to do any hard work.
Yeah.
Like when my clients come in or even on some of my videos on social and stuff, like I'm just really... I like to think that I'm just really authentic. Like it is what it is. I'll say what I say. I would never do anything to hurt anyone's feelings, but I'll just be honest and just say, look, for example, if I gave you an example of someone coming in with acne that said to me, in the first sort of little bit of the chat that, they can't really afford to keep up treatments and they don't really have the money to buy the home care, then that's where I'll just be I'll be so, what's the word, transparent and say, don't come for facials with me, but do buy the skincare. Okay. If you can only do one and not the other, but then when they have got the money, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
If they've got a one-off and they just want to come back and they need a little bit more advice, then they'll come back. So authenticity was definitely one of the big things for me. I think authenticity as well in the way that you're so grateful. I'm always saying how grateful I am for my clients. I always give them little free treats and things like that just to support them. I'm always available for them, which is a good and a bad thing. And the rebooking side of things, that's how the client base grew to where it grew, because then people started to say, oh, okay, I want to book a facial with her, but she's so booked. Why is she so booked? And then they want to book because they're like, why are they getting it?
Exclusive
Yeah,
thing,
we get that FOMO, don't we? And as women as well, where we're just like, why?
We're in there. I want to go there. Why can't I get in there for 5 weeks? Yeah.
So I think that was one of the ways to get the initial client base built, was just to sharing my before and afters, showing transformations, and getting my clients to speak to it about their friends and family and asking them, will you tell your friends? Ask the question.
Yeah, literally ask them.
Post me on your Instagram or tag me in this and tag me on that. I'm not as great as I was.
You don't need to be now, though, do you? That's the thing.
I'd say, can I take a picture? Can I tag you? Can I this? And then they'll share it, and then you're just free marketing then, aren't you?
In the early days when you pretty much just qualified in skin and you were speaking to some of your makeup clients, did you ever lower your prices or do trial prices just to get people through the doors?
Yeah, I would say at the start we did offer a introductory practice rate, if you like, I suppose, before I was at the final stages of the qualification.
Yeah, okay.
And I would maybe offer something like, it should be this, but it's that.
Yeah.
But realistically, it would be worth more, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it would be I'll include something.
Yes, rather than
discount it. Yeah. So it would be worth more, but it sent a better package, I think, for them overall.
Because you don't really do discounts in your skin and laser business.
No,
not really. Especially
not really.
The skin side of things. You might package together your laser offers, but for skin, you don't lead the business now on, it's £20 off this week or whatever.
No, we don't do that. And there's a reason for that, is because one thing I've always like pride myself on is affordability. And somebody actually said this to me, a client said to me, she went to another salon and she said, oh, I go to Tara for my facials. And she said, yeah, she's really cheap. And I was like, okay, well, you can say cheap or you can say affordable.
Yeah.
Affordable was something that I really wanted to stick to. And the reason that we can be more affordable, because we're in a very lucky position where we are able to utilise our room to have 2 treatments in at one time.
Yes.
So that means that we are doubling our income every hour.
Yeah.
Which would make perfect sense for me to be able to still invest in the products and the machines and everything else, but be able to offer it at affordable prices, because if you were running a discount at £25, for example, for a dermaplane somewhere else, I could run that twice. Does that mean I could do £50 in every hour? So I didn't ever really run discounts, but I made things look more attractive by including a free part of the treatment.
Yeah, so you would maybe, for example, a free steam
face mask
with
or
face mask,
something like that. But if you know your numbers well enough, and if the salon that said that, they don't know my numbers. They don't know what it is that I earn in profit. They don't know how much my mortgage is and what are my overheads, and that's all got to be really realistic to the person. Some people have mortgages of multiple thousands, some people have really low, so it's really about what I was comfortable with. And I didn't actually change the prices for quite a long time. They went up about £4. And again, now, like, people are doing them at £60, whereas I'm getting 2 in at 100, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So and
you take out my staff wages, I'm still making more money than the other person. Yeah. So it's just making it work for you and what your situation is.
So going back to the building the client base, you had like a client base of people that you was doing the makeup on, and then you kind of took to social media and you was tagging people that you was doing treatments on and getting them to tag you and stuff like that. Is there any other things that you think have really contributed to your client base being like it is now, other than people that you already knew and then tagging people? Is like word of mouth being a big thing for you?
Word of mouth is absolutely massive. Like, word of mouth is one of the biggest marketing tools that you have. Like, literally, when we have a consultation form when people come in, and they obviously fill in a section that says, where did you hear about us? And they all pretty much all either say Instagram or my friend.
Okay.
Yeah, and there really isn't much. There's a couple that come through Google now because we've worked on SEO a little bit more, but generally speaking, I know someone that knows them, they felt comfortable with me, then they'll recommend them to someone else. And it's about the client that came to me in the first place. We got that buzz, we got that vibe, and they're like, oh, you're going to love her. And they don't even talk about the treatment some of the time. They're actually just coming for like the vibe of the experience and trust the trust.
What's your thoughts on like having a work-life balance? Do you think it exists?
Yeah, I think it exists. Okay. I've been there, I've done it. I've had to sacrifice some things.
Yeah.
Now, there's certain non-negotiables for me. Non-negotiables are weekends. Yeah. I don't work weekends now.
But you had to early on.
Of course I did. There are non-negotiables. Like now, I'm there for every morning, every breakfast, every school run. A non-negotiable is like, I've got time to have a coffee and then I'm in clinic. Do you know what I mean? Non-negotiable is bath time, bedtime. I do 1 late night a week. Coming up to Christmas, I'll do 2.
Yep.
I could not do the job I do unless it was for my husband and for my mum. And then I have select friends that can help and will help. But no, it's like my husband's self-employed. He's retired from rugby now. He's a gas engineer, but he can do a lot of that from home. Yeah. He has people that he can micromanage. So he can do that from home. And it's like organised chaos.
Yes.
It's organised chaos. But I'd like to say, well, I can say I'm very present as a mum. Yeah. And that's like important for me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
But you had to make sacrifices in the early days, which we've all had to do. I remember my daughter saying to me, I mean, she was only like 4 or 5 having a tantrum, and she was like, you love, no, was she about 6, 7? Anyway, you love your business more than you love me. And I was like,
yeah.
But then I thought, I can see why you think that. But then now, I mean, she's grateful that I did what I did when I had to do what I had to do in the early days, which was jeopardise that time seeing her as much, because now she's got a fucking great lifestyle.
Oh my God,
so it's
mum
like
guilt.
I know.
I'm guilty when I'm at work because I think, oh my God, you know, like it's Halloween. I think, right, I need to plan all these things, and sometimes I overcompensate. Do you know what I mean? And then I think, well, if I'm at work, I feel guilty, and if I'm at home, I think, oh, I could have earned money today in clinic. Christmas is coming. Do you know what I mean? But my mum is just incredible. Also, my mother-in-law, she lives far away. She lives in Huddersfield, and when she can come down, she comes down and she does what she can. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's amazing. If we've got something on, so we've got a very close. But that old saying, you know, it takes a village to raise a family.
Yeah,
and
that's
and I think my marriage as well, it's give and take. A lot of it is give and take, like for him and for me, and we both support each other massively.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. I do think there is such thing as a happy work balance. But Reggie, what you just said, Reggie came up to me once. He was only little, and he was like, "No, mummy, no, get off your phone, mummy." And I was like, oh my God. And that was the time then I paid a friend. It was Annabelle. She's like my skin therapist now. She's like my ride or die. She was a client at first, and then she was like, oh, I remember how it organically happened. I paid her cash in hand to do like my phone, and then because I needed a PA because I got that busy where I was doing my own messages, she took over that, and then that stemmed on from there. But at that time, so I think, you know, and then you organically just grow and get bigger, but more responsibility, etc., etc. But I have definitely now got a lovely, healthy work-life balance, but I've had to sacrifice. So for those who are finding it really hard at the minute, it does get easier, but you need to prioritize. And if you can't handle it, even if it's paying a friend to do your messages, if you don't want to commit to a booking system, but a booking system for me, I couldn't live without one. But if you're not quite at that level where you need when you're still an old school paper diary, then, you know, pay somebody to do that for you. If you can allocate, do you know what I mean? Not allocating time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd recommend doing.
Yeah. So in the early days, like you say, you had to sacrifice. Now you've got more boundaries. So like you say, you won't work weekends now, but you've done your fair share of weekends
I've done
over
my
the
fair
years.
share of weekends.
You'll only do one evening a week now, but I'm sure you've done your fair share of evenings. So I think for
if
people,
one client asked for one lip treatment at 3 o'clock in the day, I would go in and do that client.
Yeah.
I'd drop everything and go and do that client.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But you wouldn't do 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon now.
Well, you see, this is another thing. I think it's easy, and I can talk to fellow practitioners or businesswomen like this, so it's very easy. There was a time I would forget the value. Basically, I think I lost my feet a bit sometimes. Phil always reminds, keep them fucking feet on the ground, love, because the people you meet on the way up, you'll meet them on the way back down. Don't get, you know, not that I'm a big-headed person, but I can see how it is easy to forget. So what I mean by that is you could have a break of 2 hours, like, you know, we're doing fully booked clinic, have a 2-hour break. There'd be one client in, like, for a review, for a rhino review. It's easy to go, oh, just move her. No. That woman has paid her hard-earned money to come and see you for a treatment.
Yeah.
No, like, I will stay for that 2 hours. I will make sure, like, my clients are gold.
Yeah.
Like, my clients are my priority. Like, I will go above and beyond. And also for my fellow practitioners, if they've booked in for a masterclass, like, that's another thing that's really hard to do because you need the models for masterclasses. And, like, it's so, like, if you've got no models, I would rather cancel.
Yes.
My fellow practitioner who's paid a fortune to come and see me. She's took time off work. She's organised childcare. I would rather rearrange and make sure I've got that, so you've got that quality training.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that's a whole other story.
Yeah, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything I have in my life has been funded by me.
Yeah.
And that's why it means so much to me, because it was me that started that first brick to build the entire foundation, and it literally has just been sacrifice after sacrifice to then start to reap the rewards. But everyone says in business, like, if for the first 3 years you even break even, like, you're doing well. Like, if you then start to make profit, like, you're doing really good. But yeah, for me, it was just earning money and then reinvesting that into something else. And nobody was there giving me the money. Nobody was helping me. Like, it was me for me. Like, I had to build it up on my own. But yeah, I got there in the end.
So, you know, when you was like doing these clients before work, during lunch breaks, after works, was it kind of like your first experience of like, oh shit, like there's money.
Yeah.
This is more money, because you probably earned more on your lunch break than you did in your flipping afternoon at work,
this
didn't
is
you?
like the craziest thing about it. Like, this full-time job that I had, like, obviously one of the reasons why I started doing them courses is because I actually really wanted to, but I needed to earn money.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I needed money. That was
I get
it.
that.
And what I was earning from my full-time job had to pay my rent on my house, my council tax, my water, my electric. It had to buy me food. It had to put fuel in my car. There wasn't money left over for me to, I don't know, go and get my nails done or actually like put into other things. Or say, for example, my car needed an MOT or needed a tyre, like there wasn't money left over. So when I started to see the money, I actually really started to think, oh my God, like you can really earn money out of doing these things. And like going back to when I was at school, it was never something that was really praised or really talked about, like go and do hair, go and do beauty. Like I feel like back then, and I do still feel that there's a bit of a stigma to it now with certain people. People don't think this industry is frugal, but it is unbelievably incredible. Like it's amazing, like literally amazing, like what you can earn if you put your time and your energy into it and give it your all. You can absolutely fly.
I love that. So let's go back again.
Yeah.
You was, it's funny you say that because I just recorded a video and basically I was saying in the video, this industry is underestimated and it's laughed at.
Yeah.
And also students at school are encouraged to stay away from the industry.
Yeah, why?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
By people who are working 9 to 5 earning shit money.
Yeah, I know. This is what I mean. Like, I just think to myself, like, if you could be your own boss and create your own hours, your own life, dictate what you want to do and earn the most money that you could, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you? Like, I've got a friend who's literally gone through uni for the last 7 years to be a doctor. 7. And like the amount of like emotional torture she's gone through, like working in hospitals is absolutely like it's a lot. And honestly, I applaud anyone that works like within the healthcare system. But I just think to myself, like, why is it not praised to then go do something like we do where you can actually earn more money and
Earn more money
whatever?
and work less and
work
less,
less,
less of the trauma and all that stuff.
I just think to myself, what? Like, I don't understand why it's so frowned upon. And I really wish when I was at school that somebody had actually looked at me and gone, okay, like, let's tune into the other things that maybe you could put into a passion. Like, I was always that typical kid at school that you talk too much, you distract your friends too much. But no teacher actually looked at me and thought, okay, like maybe what could that go into? It was just very much, you're not academically bright, you're not going to do anything with your life. Like you're a kid in care, like you're just getting pushed to the side. And I just think that's awful. Like there's so many children that are mistreated by the care system, and I massively think by the education system where they're just not given a chance. Everybody should be given a chance. And everybody like has a chance to do something with their life. I'm a massive believer in that. Like I'm very much one of them people where there isn't an excuse for something. Like I know that you can make anything out of your life. It's just how bad you want it.
Of the common mistakes or hurdles that people experience when it comes to manifesting. So a lot of the people watching this podcast will be business owners, predominantly beauty business or aesthetic business owners, and they want to have more success in the business. They want to achieve more. They want more clients. They want to earn more money. Maybe they want a team. So they're focused on these things. Sometimes people are manifesting or think they're manifesting, but they're probably doing it in a way that's not actually working for them. What are some common mistakes that you see happen often when it comes to manifesting?
I think the biggest one for me that I will see over and over again is people not being able to detach from the outcome.
Okay.
And we are gripping on so tight to what we've got tunnel vision, and we're like, right, I need this, and this is the language that they use. I need this. Like, really be careful with your language, because when you're in a state of need, you're in a state of lack, and you're basically saying to the universe, I don't believe that it's going to happen, and I'm in this state of lack. So you desire something to happen, you believe it to already be yours, it just needs to be delivered. Okay, so this is the first thing we're looking at. But that element of detachment, and we grip on so tightly. And I wrote about this in the second book, and talking about a marriage proposal. And I said, how can you accept a ring when your hand is gripped? Let's open the hand. And even if we speak about money, how can you receive money from someone if your hand is gripped so tightly? Let's release, open the hand, and just release that grip that you've got around the tightness around it. So I'd said to a client recently, you know, let's think about plan B. Okay, so whilst we know the universe is going to deliver, okay, that whatever is meant for us is going to come into our lives, will you still be safe? Can you still create a beautiful life if, for whatever reason, this manifestation doesn't come to fruition? And we really started to just talk about it. And she was like, actually, yeah, because this could happen. And you could actually see the physiology, I always get this word wrong, physiology, like the body language, her actual body's response to thinking about, actually, she's still safe in plan B. And what happened is her whole body dropped, and it was only a matter of weeks before she messaged me to say, it's happened. Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing you see then. So 100%. People they want something, but they're so attached and they're gripping on so tightly to that thing that they want that they almost hold themselves away from having it because they're so focused on having it. Is that
I'd said to somebody, how about instead of us, because a lot of people, our automatic response is to be in a level of control. It's a safety mechanism. We need to know our surroundings. We need to control what's happening because it's a safety mechanism, and it's an element of fear of the unknown as well. So I said, okay, let's kind of work with this. If we're really kind of struggling to control the outcome, what I want you to do is write down all of the weird, wonderful, mundane, extraordinary ways that the universe could deliver for you. So instead of just thinking, okay, it's going to be just this way and that's how it's going to happen, actually, what if it gets to happen in this way? What if it gets to happen in when we speak about manifesting abundance, someone in my membership this morning just messaged to say she was manifesting £1,300, very specific. And she just left a message in the group to say, I have just had a refund from an old, from years ago, I think it was a housing loan or something like that, and they'd overcharged her, and it was for £1,300 that she got the money through for. And how would she have ever known that money was going to come through from an old loan that didn't work or that had been overcharged? So yeah, just crazy how it can happen.
Okay, what are some other common mistakes that people make then? So we've got being too attached to the outcome. What else?
I think, honestly, I don't want to say not doing the work, but I am really big on rituals. But I think what happens is people see other people doing so. So they'll see on TikTok and they'll go, right, okay, this person's doing this, so I need to copy it. But you don't feel good to them. And they're not. And this is what I've always loved about what you say about a morning routine, because you treat it, as I do, as a bit of a pick and mix. As long as you're doing something, let's do something that feels good to you. But what I see people do is they follow other people's advice and they know that they're just ticking it off the to-do list. It feels like a chore to them. And I'm like, when you're doing anything to do with manifesting, whether it be scripting, whether it be, meditation, visualization, the most important thing is it has to feel good to you. Your energy has to feel increased, you raise your vibrations through it, and you have to feel attached to your manifestation. So it really is about, instead of following everybody else's blueprint, tuning into what feels good to you.
Why do you think it's important to show your audience specifically you and your personality?
I think because what I do is just so niche that it's kind of the only thing that I've got to go on, really. I know there's other intimate waxers out there and they do kind of before and afters, or they'll do here's a wax strip with all these pubes on. And I'm like, do clients really want to see that? I mean, some people might, but I don't know if where I'm based that's what people want to see. So I'm kind of restricted, really, as to where I can go. So the only thing that I've really got is to be me and be a bit
yeah,
here I am.
I think being authentic helps you to get more clients. And I think the one of the things that I learned about you very quickly was it's safe to be comfortable around you. You're safe to be around personality wise. I feel just how you show up online and how authentic you are, even for me, it's I would feel so safe coming to you. And you say it's a no judgment zone. Mm-hmm. What kind of things do you say to your clients to help them feel safe when they're coming to you?
I think it's that, that know, like and trust factor, that before they've even met me, they know who I am. And they know, and the amount of people that come into my salon and they're like, oh, you're the woman for me. As soon as I've seen all your videos, I've watched all of them. I just knew you're the waxer for me. And I think it's just because, I'm not massively polished and groomed, and I just kind of show up as myself, and they'll come in and oh, I'm really sorry, I'm a right mess. And I'm like, hello, look at me. So I think it's that environment where I kind of make myself so approachable, and I've definitely got my tribe that I'm after. I can remember my mum told me off once because I said the F word on one of my posts, and she was like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that on your post, you're going to ostracize some people. And I was like, if I say the F word and someone's offended, I was like, I don't want them here anyway. I want my type of people that come. So I think it's just that, You know, I say things about plus size and, you know, waxing's for everybody, kind of reassure them about how much weight my bed can hold. And, you know, a lot of women can go into a salon and they've sort of come to me and said, oh, I went in a salon, and they said they've like looked them up and down as if they'd kind of gone like,
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, go on, just hike that up there, do this that way. And I just make it just totally normal because, you know, it is.
I love that. And now, is it just intimate waxing that you tend to typically do in terms of treatments, or do you do anything else?
I do other waxing. So like if someone's like, can you do my lip and can you do my eyebrows or can you do this? I will, but I don't do any other treatments. I've just literally parked everything and just gone in straight for the waxing. But ideally, I just want to do intimate waxing because it's so fast, you know, it's 15 minutes. I charge £46. It's super quick. And it's a proper moneymaker for me.
So let's talk about your social media as well. So you typically don't tend to do the whole, how am I going to say this, like exposure of certain areas. I know you can't post actual vaginas on social media. We can't, but I see some pretty close calls when it comes to that. And we were saying when you got here this morning, somebody in our group in the membership had posted this morning a picture of some intimate waxing she'd done, and it took my attention straight away, which I think is great. I think the scroll stopping pictures, I think the scroll stopping images. However, Facebook have removed it already because they've said that it's nudity and they've given me a warning. Whatever, well, actually me, but you know. So how have you kind of dealt with that side of it and marketing yourself so that you can still be out there? I know you said you do your personality, but are there any specific things that you think have stood out for you for social media?
Yeah, so I don't do any posting of actual people because I think people can be nervous to come and see you then. I don't want my fanny on the internet. But I mean, there's so many vulva related topic like things out there. There's so many pictures, and you know, if you went into my salon, I've got, you know, flower garlands and there's little vulvas stuck all over them, and so there's things that you can use. It's just kind of being clever with it. I've been all right on my local groups. I've only had one post taken off where it is a kind of picture of a vulva, but not a genuine one, you know, just a drawn one. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things you can use. It's just I can't go down the full-on route of the before and afters because, like you say, they get removed or people get offended or, just got to be careful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Just so everybody knows, the first picture I seen of Louise was when she did her introduction post in the group, and the way that the picture was the client was taking the picture from down, and you could see the client's legs. You couldn't see anything else, just the client's legs, and Louise is like this in between, like for everyone that's watching on YouTube, like smiling and waving in between this client's legs with a waxing spatula, and I was just like, that is such a great picture, and it's a great way to show what you do without the kind of nudity side of it that may cause problems for people who do this on social media. Because if you do that a few times, you can get your account closed down, can't you? And it's a risky game. We don't really want to be playing. What advice would you give to somebody who is thinking about employing, but they don't feel like an employer, just like you felt before you employed?
I think to kind of be you. You don't need to be, like I say, the big boss lady. And I think what I do with the girls, some people say I'm too soft, which I probably am, but then I'm learning as well. But I think just trust. You need to just be you. You just need to be confident in your decisions as well. I think that's a big one. I used to doubt myself loads. Something that I've really, really worked on. Follow your gut as well, I think. And look after your staff. Like, I love looking after them. And, you know, people are like, oh God, like, you know, you're buying them lunch again, you're buying them this, you're doing that. But I love it and they love it. And I also appreciate them. Like, I appreciate how hard they work. And I think they appreciate working there as well. And it's a nice, creating a nice environment. But if you feel that's for you, like a lot of people in the industry are just like, oh, I'm not employing, I just want to do self-employed. For me, like you say, because my clients had a huge client base and they were very loyal to the salon, actually for me, employment worked because I like to do things a certain way. But yeah, you can still be yourself, but you can still, you know, assert your authority and like how you want to create, what salon environment you want to create, really.
I think as well, when people choose to not employ people for their beauty businesses because they don't feel like an employer, they really do themselves a disservice, because I have had a mixture of employed staff, self-employed staff. in terms of earning potential, your earning potentials are much higher with an
Yeah.
employed team. You also are able to manage the team and get this salon or the business to a place in which you want it to be. You have more control.
Definitely.
That's not me saying you control your staff, but that's
No.
saying you have more of an influence over how they show up, how they treat the clients and so on. Because for you had a huge client base. Do you want to hand that over to someone who is self-employed, who might not share the same values and mission like what you do, therefore meaning that them clients wouldn't get the same or a similar experience?
Exactly that,
Whereas
yeah.
employing people has been more valuable to you because you've been able to kind of say, who are you? Tell me what you're about. This is my salon. These are my standards. These are my
Yeah.
values. Do you share similar? Yes, you do. Okay, well then this is how we show up. And
Yeah.
that really creates a more consistent approach to your clients and to their experience, therefore meaning that the word of mouth is going to be stronger, the return rate is going to be stronger because it's more systemized. It's like Tesco aren't going to have a load of self-employed people in there because you'll have someone on checkout 1 who don't give a shit, someone on checkout 2 who does give a shit. It's too
Yeah.
inconsistent, you
Yeah.
know. And I
Yeah.
suppose you don't have to be a certain type of person to have an employed team. You can still be all of you
Yeah.
and be an employer.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Yeah. I think when I had the self-employed girls there, I didn't have as much control and they weren't creating the environment that I wanted. You know, there was one where I was getting a couple of complaints and obviously because she was self-employed, there's nothing I could do. It was kind of 2 separate businesses and I had to sort of, one, this is when I knew I needed the BGA so badly. There was a girl that actually put a bad review on my Facebook page for the salon and it wasn't me obviously that did it. It was a self-employed girl at the time. And it was not long after I opened and I woke up to it and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's it. Like I'm closing the salon. Nobody's going to come to me anymore. It is horrendous. Like I don't know what to do. And I messaged the BGA and Freeze replied straight away, bless her. And she was like, it's fine, don't worry. Like, you know, this is what to do. And it all got sorted out. And, you know, the girl took it down and put it on the other girl's page and it was all fine. But,
Give that to her. Not my shit.
like, I didn't do that. That's not me. But yeah, I think, but then I have more control of that now.
Yeah.
And I will take credit for that as well. Like, you know, if one of the girls did a job where did somebody's nails, I don't know, and somebody wasn't happy, I'm more than happy to sort that out because it's on me and I can deal with it in what I see is the best way. And I think, yeah, I have more control over things like that. And also I can give the girls enough training that I know they're doing a good job. And I can say to the girls, this is the kind of customer service that I want you to have, you know, and I've said to them a million times before, like in the salon, as soon as somebody walks through those doors, give them your attention straight away. As soon as they walk in, some people can be a bit nervous. And I was like, the minute they walk in the door, they have your attention with a friendly smile to the minute they walk out of the door so that, you know, and you don't have that kind of control, if you like, if
you're
somebody's self-employed. Yeah.
And I think as well, so I have still got quite a large self-employed team. I think at that point, if you are going to go down the self-employed route and you do want them to follow specific standards in the salon, I'm kind of going to kind of counteract what I've just said. You kind of do need to have a bit of a stronger personality because in that case, like for me, if I seen any of my self-employed staff being rude towards customers or uninterested or not, you know, respecting the boundaries and the systems and stuff in the salon, I am the type that will pull them up on that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not the type, again, you're between a rock and a hard place, aren't you? Because it's like, I've just witnessed that, but actually I don't really want to say anything. So it's a tricky one. Where do you think your business would be now if you didn't follow my advice and you didn't employ the girls?
I think I would be working 12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week. And I don't know, quite unhappy, really. I think before I went on the retreats, I was busy. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't have asked for better.
You were burnt out though.
I was burnt out, definitely burnt out. And I didn't know what direction. I knew I wanted to grow the salon. I didn't know how to grow the salon. I didn't know what direction I wanted it to go in. I don't think I would have had the confidence to employ somebody either. I think like what we learned on particularly the Beauty Boss retreat about having employees and working out costings and all that kind of thing, it was an eye-opener.
I know, I remember you being like, I can earn
What?
Hang on a minute.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. And I wouldn't have had that confidence to do it, definitely. I think I would have just been moseying along and not really making... And I think back then I wasn't confident in myself and my decisions and following sort of my gut instincts. But actually now I'm like, no, like, look how far I've come. Like, this is amazing. Like, you if you feel it's right, do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's been absolute game changer.
I love that. And if anyone's listening to this or watching this and you are a BJ member, all of the stuff that we went through at the Beauty Boss retreat that Mia had access to is in the team management module of the training. So you don't have to go on a retreat to get access to that stuff. You can just log in and go and do it. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Don't forget that I am back every single week with a brand new episode. Check out the links in the show notes to follow me on social media, learn about my guests, and join any upcoming challenges or masterclass that I'm hosting. I'll see you next week.